Pennsylvania Supreme Court says ballots can't be rejected based on signature comparisons. Boog Boi charged with riot during George Floyd unrest. A 10-year-old walked 1,700 miles with his dad from Italy to England for a hug with Grandma. These stories tonight on Hibiscus Society News. I'm Benjamin Hawk. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court ruled Friday that ballots in the state cannot be rejected because of signature comparisons, backing up guidance issued by the state's chief elections officer heading into Pennsylvania's first presidential election with unrestricted mail-in voting. The ruling comes as a defeat to Republicans who challenged the decision by election officials, making the logical argument that checking signatures would prevent voter fraud in the highly contested state. The court panel in that state is 7 judges, 5 of which are Democrat, but the ruling was made with 6 of the 7 saying you don't have to match the signatures on the ballots with the voter records, which stops no one from stealing someone's ballot out of their mailbox, filling it out, sending it in. Makes total sense to me! Federal prosecutors say Ivan Harrison Hunter, an alleged member of the Boogaloo, fired a semi-automatic rifle into the Minneapolis Police Department's 3rd Precinct building during the George Floyd protests in May. Ivan is from San Antonio, Texas, and according to the criminal complaint filed there, they allege that the 26-year-old drove to Minneapolis between May 27th and the 28th with the intent of participating in a riot. Fed Boys reviewed a video taken on the night of May 28th that shows an individual firing 13 rounds from an AK-47 semi-auto rifle into the police building. Apparently the feds weren't onto him as a suspect until he was stopped in Austin, Texas, in full kit, where he claimed to tell local police he was the leader of the South Texas Boogaloo. Then the feds say his online discussions link him to the shooting in Minneapolis and to Stephen Carrillo, who is charged in the murder of a Federal Protective Service officer in Oakland, California. With that said, tune in later tonight for Ben's 2 Cents, where we will be discussing what not to say online, ever, to anyone. Visiting loved ones during the pandemic is a daunting task. During the pandemic, especially for a 10-year-old boy who only wanted a hug from his 77-year-old grandma. The boy, who was born in the UK, but since then his parents moved to Sicily, hadn't seen his granny for some time. And with no flights from where he was living to the UK, he and his dad set out on a mission of love. On June 20th, they walked from Sicily to the UK, going across Italy, Switzerland, and into France. They spent many nights under the stars and took time to volunteer at a refugee camp in northern Calais. But no matter how unusual the circumstances or conditions, they kept going. Once they reached England on September 21st, they were forced to quarantine for 2 weeks before the young man was able to receive the prize of his journey, the warm hug of his grandma. For those fighting for freedom and liberty on the front lines here and abroad, we thank you. Keep up the fight. You are not alone. For sympathetic law enforcement keeping their oath to the Constitution, we thank you and keep up the good work. For any feds, law enforcement, and informants trying to keep up the tyranny, as always, fuck you! This is Hibiscus Society News. I'm Benjamin Hawk. Good night.